Hello everyone and welcome back to Killer Shrew Fans Killer Toy Reviews, and it's time for another countdown. A little bit ago, I decided I would be breaking up my best of lists into 3 different categories from here on out, including a top 5 Mattel figures, top 5 pop culture inspired models, and top 10 scientifically accurate offerings of the year. I kicked off my best of 2021 lists with my top 5 Mattel releases of the year, so go check out that video, but honestly, it was a bit of a cluster, seeing as I had to take the time to set up this new system, and I also chose to do a redux to my 2020 best of list with the new categories in the same video, for some odd reason. Anyway, it got a bit messy and unmanageable, and I probably should have split that video into 2 different parts with a setup to the new list and redo of my top 2020 favorites, and then save the Mattel list for a separate video, but that's life for ya. With that in mind, I'm gonna learn from my mistakes and break the remaining lists into their own videos. I'll do a top 5 pop culture releases video now that I'm caught up on those releases, and I'll cap it all off with a top 10 scientific models video once the remaining stuff comes in. This'll make it all more manageable, and it means I can make the videos on a rolling basis rather than having to wait for everything to show up just to make one big messy video. So today, let's go ahead and count down the top 5 pop culture models. Before we get into it, I'll do a brief recap of the year for such releases. Nanmu gave us 7 great Jurassic and other film-inspired sculpts, not to mention countless repaints of each mold. Rebore hit us with their first 2 Retrosaurus figures, as well as their long-awaited Carnotosaurus Rex and a stylized Gigantosaurus, and W Dragon began releasing their officially licensed Jurassic products. Even if scientifically accurate models dominated the year once again, it was still certainly a good time for fans of movie dinosaurs nonetheless. For my top picks, the same rules as usual apply. I don't necessarily have to have reviewed the figure, I just have to own it so that I can pass an honest judgment on the final product. So here we go, it's Killer Shrew Fans Killer Toy Reviews, and these are my top 5 pop culture releases of 2021. Before we get into my official selections, I want to give a quick honorable mention to Rebore's Mesozoic Rhapsody. This was one of their first Retrosaur models to be released, and it made for an awesome addition to the Rebore catalog. I love retro dinosaurs. I grew up watching the films of Ray Harryhausen and reading all those outdated picture books, so when Rebore announced this line, it really tickled my nostalgia bone. Even if we're still waiting on a handful of them to see the light of day, this one was certainly a priority to me, and it did not disappoint as it succeeds at capturing the Charles R. Knight aesthetics of a bygone era, while also boasting Rebore's new and improved sculpt work. I only wish the paint job had been a little closer to the Paint Master, but it's still a very welcome and unique addition to dinosaur collecting. I'll also give a quick nod to Nanmu's Baryonyx Duo, Santiago and Calypso. This one definitely surprised me. I'll be honest, I am not really a fan of the Baryonyx designs from Fallen Kingdom, and I know I'm not alone in that, but they're probably my least favorite offerings from the franchise, right up there with the new Gigantosaurus. That being said, I really don't know what Nanmu did, but somehow they managed to create a very appealing scene here using those designs. It doesn't seem like they changed all that much from the film version, but for whatever reason, be it Nanmu's artistry or what, I do find them more appealing in model form, especially when you have the pair and can create this entire snapshot for your display. That's very lovely to look at. It's not enough for them to make the list, unfortunately. They both suffer from some underwhelming paintwork here and there, and no matter how good Nanmu is, even they can only do so much with that ugly design. Still, the fact that they look this good just proves that the company is a true force to be reckoned with. Getting into the list itself, kicking things off at number 5, we have Nanmu's Shadow Monarch, and this was certainly an unexpected addition to the Nanmu lineup, seeing as it wasn't a Jurassic-inspired piece, but it was a welcome one for sure. I love Peter Jackson's King Kong. I saw it when I was young, and it's a spectacle I'll never forget. But the highlight was easily the V-Rex brawl with Kong, so obviously I'm going to get excited for any model inspired by those beasts. Even if this figure doesn't perfectly capture every little facet of the design, it's still just as beautifully sculpted and painted as any other offering from Nanmu, and the add-on base makes for one dope display. At number 4, we have Nanmu's Gigantosaurus Behemoth. This was one of those enigmas to me. I wasn't sure what list it should fall under. It's not necessarily based on any specific pop culture depiction, at least not one that I'm aware of, but I also wouldn't go so far as to say it's an attempt at an accurate design on Nanmu's part. It's still very stylized. So I decided to include it on this list because, let's be honest, it had to go somewhere in my best of the year given how well done it is on a technical level. Blue or orange, either or, take your pick. They're both beautiful offerings. These were the first figures to come out from the company in 2021, and they sure set one heck of a curve with their unique designs, massive size, intricate sculpts, and immaculate paintwork. It's rare that I can't pick a favorite between variants, but if that tells you how good both of these are, then there you go. Coming in at number 3, this one might be a bit of a surprise, but we have the Rebore Carnotosaurus Rex. I know, with how obsessed I am with this figure, you'd think it would be number 1, and it sure put up one heck of a fight for the spot. After a grueling 2-year wait for this figure, it 100% did not disappoint. After years of Jurassic Park inspired models, it's so amazing to finally have a massive screen-accurate rendition of this design from an overshadowed film in model form, and I do honestly think it's one of Rebore's best sculpts to date. It maybe could have used just a little more paint on the body here and there, but that is a minor grievance. This figure is amazing and a mandatory purchase for fans of Disney's Dinosaur. Coming in at number 2, we have Nanmu's Once and Future King. This is basically everything good about last year's Alpha Tyrannosaurus Rex, ramped up to 11. A massive, screen-accurate Lost World Buck Rex with a beautiful base and a ton of shelf presence. What's not to love? I went back and forth between this guy and Rebore's Carnotaur, but at the end of the day, I just couldn't ignore the incredible artistry of this figure. Say what you will about unofficial JP-inspired Rexes in the market, it's nice to finally get one that actually looks like the Buck Rex. And I don't think any of the other substitutes have ever looked this good, nor are they likely to again anytime soon. But okay, I'll bet you're wondering, what could possibly top the Once and Future King and Rebore Carnotaurus? After all, one was my most anticipated figure of ever, and the other was a long-awaited proper Buck Rex. Well, I think my number 1 choice for the year was a bit of an unsung hero. Something that feels like it should have gotten a lot more attention than it did. I'm talking, of course, about Nanmu's sick Triceratops statue. As a fan of Jurassic Park, this was an absolute dream come true figure, and in true Nanmu fashion, they nailed it. Nailed the heck out of it. It is a perfect representation of the animatronic from the original film, with a beautifully crisp, screen-accurate sculpt and paint job at a fraction of the cost of other pieces inspired by that iconic scene. I had always wanted something like this for my collection, but could never bring myself to drop the kind of money required for it, so Nanmu really came through here. If you're a fan of Jurassic Park, I can't recommend it enough. And that was my top 5 pop culture inspired models of 2021. Certainly another banner year with Nanmu continuing to dominate the market, and it looks like we're due for another great lineup from all of these companies. I am eagerly awaiting the Primal Rage versions of Rebore's Californication and Ray Harryhausen's Ceratosaurus, and Nanmu has already got 2 great Brax and Paras on the way, so stay tuned for what's to come, and as always, don't forget to let me know which ones were your favorite and what it is you're most looking forward to in 2022. I hope you enjoyed this little countdown, and be sure to stick around for the pending top 10 scientific models of 2021. Meanwhile, if you'd like to check out the reviews for these models, be sure to check the description. I'll leave links to all of those videos below. So until next time, this is your pal, Killer Shrew Fan, signing off.